No, like a commercial sponsor.
Oh, Sprite.
Sprite, so you get LeBron.
Cats.
Cats?
Yeah.
Brought to you by cats.
No. Brought to you by
No.
the owl.
Also, because I think some of you are doing Duolingo when
Yeah,
you
Khan
should
Academy.
be doing other things.
Khan Academy.
So, in your graph paper, because it's not on your class paper today, we're going to try to solve this problem real quick. So, 313 we kind of skipped we skipped it. So, forget them saying in 313. But if we were given this tile pattern, and then we were given this rule to represent this tile pattern, or we're given this rule to represent that tile pattern, and they ask us how many tiles are going to be in figure 50. I want you and your partners write down whatever is necessary to get there. Write down the math you did. And I know, if you can just do the math in your calculator, great, good for you. I still want you to write it down. What did you do with this equation to figure out tiles in figure 50? Go. Read the board if you need to.
Plus 6 and figure 2 is 15 and figure 3 is 20.
So, I'm trying to help you guys get better at taking notes, because your notes are only as useful as how good as you take them. So, on your graph paper that we started last week, hey Charlie, are you with me? Because it sure seems like other things are way more interesting, and I have stuff I need to teach. If you don't still have this, make a new one. I don't think we really ended up writing much on it last week, if anything. So they give us this rule, and they tell us X's figure number. So for figure 50, random cards. Owen, what should we do to solve figure 50?
So we should do x minus 1 plus n. Plus x first.
What? What are you talking? They gave us the rule, bro. They told us the rule.
Oh.
I think you're making this way more complicated because you didn't read.
Substitute x for 50.
Yeah, that's all we need to do. We're going to sub in 50 for x since x is the figure number. So we're going to say, all right, y 6 times 50. Guys, I know this work isn't that hard, but if you write it, you can reference back to it. And you could also write down what we were doing. So for figure 50, 6 times 50? 300, then plus that extra 3. 303 tiles. Beautiful. Any questions on that? So now that we're getting better at using graph paper, I should see us respecting our graph paper, keeping it clipped in our binder, right? Maybe I have figured out why 5-Star did the weird thing with their graph paper with these little arrows down here. I'm wondering if it's because then you can put the number of what you're doing over there. But also, there's different types of graph paper back there. Find the ones that you like. Get a stack. Put it in your binder. But all right, so now that same tile pattern, we're just going to talk about this real quick. So everyone read for a second. Read for a second. Evelyn, what should Lou do with that 45? Last problem, Owen had us put the 50 in for X. Are we doing the same thing here, or is Lou doing something different?
Putting it in for Y.
We're putting it in for Y, because Lou wants 45 total tiles in his pattern. Go ahead and solve that. We're using this same rule, but now we want 45 total tiles. This is when I change colors, because it's a different problem. All right, so Evelyn, if you're able to keep helping me, I plugged that in for Y. What do I want to do next to start working towards solving for the X?
Divided by 6.
So we could. However, we talked earlier, like last week or 2 weeks ago, about if we do the division first, a lot of times this other number gets messy. So if we don't divide first, what else could we do first? Do you want to make a guess, Evelyn, about how do we get rid of this plus 3? Yeah, you do. If we divide to get rid of this, what's the opposite of plus 3?
Oh, subtract it?
Yeah! Don't lie to me, telling me you don't know. Gosh. I thought we, like, were honest with each other. I always tell you guys when I lose at game night. No. Well, we didn't really play games over the weekend. I did win at making my new base for my desk. It's in my car, though, because it still smells like stain, so we'll see if it's done smelling at the end of the day. So now is where we want to do the division. And again, your notes are only as good as you are taking them. If you are choosing to secretly or obviously do nothing right now, that is a poor choice, but you will have to live with it. So 42 divided by 6? 7. And guys, again, especially if you see me writing this down on my graph paper, you can always come and copy my notes if you like stepped out to go to the restroom, if you were playing with a calculator instead of doing like the math, or if you just got a little behind, like it happens. So if norms is made up of 84 tiles, does the 84 plug in for the X or the Y? The Y, right? All right, we can keep rolling. This is on our math notes. Let's take a few minutes to just practice solving equations. Pick whichever one you want to start with. I don't care if you start with A or B or C or D. Pick whichever one you want to start with. Practice. How do we get cracked? Now there's X's on both sides. Oh, man. This is on your paper for today. This is on your class paper. This is on your class paper. No, you can work together. Yeah, definitely work together. You can work together on your homework. Just not during my class. So you need this paper. Did I give you one of these? Yeah, so it is on your paper. So less the copy now. This is on your class paper. This is on the printed paper I gave you.
Is all these examples from class?
The whole paper is examples from class, yes. I kept them separate from each other just so you, like, because I don't need you to turn in the examples from class. They're on your paper. That's the reason. I'm pretty sure I didn't hear you talk with Alex. Alex is your first line of questioning because you have a partner.
You'll be dividing.
Remember, division and multiplication are pretty much the same thing.
This, if x actually equal a number, would you be like this, or would it be like?
Let's talk about a couple of these together, and then I'll probably let you guys have a few more minutes on your end. Now I know you maybe didn't start with this one, but Claire, how would you start A if you were starting A?
I put the x with 1, so it's x over 2, negative or minus 2.
So you just like put this over 2, like you didn't do anything to both sides yet, you just kind of rewrote it. Love it. Rewriting is often helpful. So x divided by 2 minus 2, or we could do plus negative if we wanted to. Okay, you got an idea for next then?
Next, I kind of imagined putting a 4 as x, because 4 divided by 2 equals 2, and then 2 minus 2 is 0. And then if x on the right was also 4, it would just be 4 minus 4 to also get 0.
So you were trying to problem solve your way through, like, what could this be?
We love
I like it. Brilliant. You kind of took the difficult path, though.
I like problem solving sometimes.
I can tell, right? And it's probably because you're good at it, but for those of us that aren't as good,
I have another way.
okay, you have another way. Show us the way.
Plus 4 on the right side.
Now, I'll agree with you in a minute. Guys, look up here. If you haven't done A yet, we're going to do A together. I'll maybe agree with you in a minute. Here's my advice. Always think about your variables first. Trust me, I've solved thousands of equations in my life, probably potentially a million. That would be an interesting math problem to figure out how many equations would I have to solve to get to a million, like, each day. Okay. Which of these variables is closer to 0? Half of an x or 1 of an x? Well, half of an x, right? Get rid of that. So, how do I get rid of a positive 1/2 x? You minus a 1/2 x. And guys, this is where, I really think at least writing in colors for what you do on both sides, or maybe you put like a star when you're doing something on both sides, I don't know. But this is gone now, right? Now we have -2 equals, what's 1x minus 1/2 an x? 1/2 an x minus 4. Now we have cleaned up our variables, put them on one side, that's what we wanted. So now, Charlie, now that my variables are on the right side, what else do I need to do on the right side? Because eventually I need to get rid of the 1/2 and the -4. What do you want to get rid of first? So we could, but we've talked about sometimes that gets complicated if we do multiplying or dividing but 4. So what's the other thing we could do? How do we get rid of a -4? So what we're going to write down, if you're not writing down, that's a poor choice. What we're going to write down is +4 on both sides. Because when I don't see pencils moving, I try to give a moment to let the pencils move. Now we get to -2 plus 4. -2 plus 4, positive 2 equals 1/2 of an x. Guys, if I have 1/2 of an x, sorry, not guys, Will, if I have 1/2 of an x, how do I get a whole x? Yeah, we times it by 2. So on both sides, we are multiplying by 2. You can also highlight like what you're doing on both sides, that's another great option. So then we get a whole x, yay, that's what I wanted, equals what? 4. Which is what Clara told us when we started, but I think it's just because she problem solved it. This is our step-by-step that will always work if our brains aren't quite as sharp, at least maybe this morning, as Claire's. So for b, I got my x's on both sides again. Now, there's another, like, which x should we pick to get rid of? Whichever x is negative. I don't like negatives, right? I don't like bad attitudes. I don't like whiners. If there's a positive x and a negative x, I would default to get rid of the negative x. Okay, do you got a suggestion?
Actually, I just wanted to say, for problem 1, I did it wrong, but I still got 1x equals 4.
Then you probably either didn't actually do it wrong, you probably did it differently, or you made 2 mistakes that corrected each other. That happens sometimes. Guys, when we're doing stuff in class, if you get it wrong, it's fine. You just might want to make a note that that was wrong, but I would not spend your time trying to fix it. I would move on. If you haven't done B yet, take a moment to do B. If you have, do another one. If you have no idea what to do to start, raise a hand and ask me after you've asked your partner. Because your partner's your first assistant. That is a negative x. Remember, it looks like minus, but it is a negative. So I would start by getting rid of the negative if I was you. Guys, this paper is totally just for you. I'm never taking this paper back. If it has mistakes, it's fine. It's just our practice paper. Simon, what could you do first here to get rid of that negative x?
You could add 0.25x.
Yeah, by the way, can you see from back there? Because I know your glasses got broken last week.
I can see enough.
Enough? Okay. If you need a front seat, that's where I don't assign seats, but I will say hey, this seat's for Simon until their glasses get fixed, right? If you want to claim a seat, you can claim a seat. I'm real scared that I only have this pair of glasses. We're going to camp. I normally take an extra pair with me, so I'm with you, right? I feel it. Look, when life is adventurous, they just break. And over time, come on, they get used every single day. Eventually they just break. 8 plus, this is gone now, so I don't even need the plus, equal to 0.75x plus 2. We're going to make this kind of one of those toss the ball type games when we're practicing equations in class. Will question. Yep. The next step, I'm doing cards. Okay, sorry to break your heart. What's that?
One student for a second?
Absolutely. As long as it's not Ahmad, because he's in the office. Laurel, what could we do now? The x is on its own side. We need to get rid of both of those numbers.
So I would subtract 2 from both sides.
Subtract 2 from both sides because doing the multiplier divide potentially gets complicated. 6 equal to 0.75x. Vivian, what could we do now to finish this out? Because this is multiplication, we divide, right? Or, alternatively, if you wrote 6 equals 3/4 x, you could also multiply by a reciprocal. You'll get the same answer as if you come over here and divide by the decimal. And remember, if you divide by a number less than 1, you get bigger, because what's this turn into? That 6 divided by 0.75, what's that turn into? Well, but what's that turn into then? What is the answer? Will, did you already calculate?
6.
It's 6 divided by 0.7. Guys, get a calculator. There's calculators here. We left them in last class. At least they should have.
Oh, yeah.
Alex?
No, isn't it? Wait, no.
Guys, this is why I'm stopping for us to practice this. If you don't have a calculator, you probably should. We're doing 6 divided by 0.75. It is gonna get bigger. This number is going to get bigger. It's 8, guys.
That's what I got in my head. After I just did it twice.
When you divide by a number less than 1, your result will get bigger. If I have 6, let's talk about camp. I have 6 bags of marshmallows for half of the grade. How many bags should I have for the whole grade? Well, 6 divided by half, that's really 12. 6 divided by a half. If I have 6 bags for half the grade, I need 12 for the whole grade. Right? When you divide by less than 1, you get bigger. This is why we're stopping to make sure that we all agree on this. It is 8. And this one got dicey. Cora, what would you do first here? This is actually not a hard first step.
Honestly, I would just add 0.75 to the left side and also 0.75.
Ooh.
Or not 75, just 5.
Oh, x. Sorry, you didn't bring up a variable. Now, I would agree with you, but what about this x? So you talked about this x. What about that x? So, guys, if necessary, your first step will always be combine like terms. So here, combining like terms is necessary before we start. Now, is it absolutely necessary? No. Could Cora have added 0.5x to both sides? Yes. Then later, she'll probably subtract 1x from both sides. I just want to put my x's together first. Cora would have been fine to do that. I'm just supposed to teach you guys a certain way. So combine like terms is a good first step. It doesn't have to be the first step. It's just good. X minus 0.5x. Yeah, we have 0.5x left. Plus 2 equals 1 plus 0.5x plus 1. Something smells in here, guys. You all remember to take a shower last night?
Oh.
Something smells a little fishy. Just a little, something smells fishy. So 0.5x. Wait, combine like, oh, I should have combined these like terms. Cora, why am I trying to make the joke that something smells fishy? And because it's the same thing on both sides, Ada, nothing actually smells. It's funny that you said so.
She was like,
I was joking about it smelling. This smells fishy because it's the same thing on both sides, and that means all real or any real number.
do the aesthetic header.
Yeah.
But don't you agree though?
What?
It looks like
Oh.
it would be like
It looks like that
an
one.
aesthetic like copy and paste.
Yeah,
Yeah, did I ever disagree? Alright, so there's more that we could practice. We could move on to D if we want. But I want to try something different. Let's move on to 93. So do D if you do D. Duty. Get it if you duty. So move on to 93. I want to try this. So guys, start with what we were just doing. That was algebra, right? What we were just practicing, so you know, would say, I can do algebra. We were just doing algebra. Do that. Then make an XY axes, right? X and Y axes. Then create a table. Then we'll make axes and we'll graph this. And if you don't know how to graph that, that's why you have a teacher. So start with do algebra, then make a little table. Create like a 5-point table.
Are you trying to say axis?
Axes. Plural of axis. Axes.
Oh.
Plural of axis is axes. Yep, multiple axes are axes.
It's not like
Sounds
that.
dumb.
So does moose and meese. That's why people don't say that. But no, because goose and geese, but the plural of moose is not meese, it's mooses.
You got me there.
What?
Isn't it just moose?
There are 5 moose over. Yes, it is just moose. Okay, by the way, Mr. Estes saying that the person. Oh, this is totally not what I should be talking about right now. But somebody told me about your connections class last week and how the don't act like you know things you don't, and who made that quote?
Connections.
Who made that quote?
Connections.
Oh, a person named Connections.
No, but it has actually
So also, don't believe everything you hear. I think is probably where Estes is also taking you. Don't believe everything you hear. Gus, what would I do first on both sides here?
-1.
Absolutely, what you should have written on. Why am I writing down 2? Because I'm still thinking about connections.
Why does that have to do with two?
Because you guys are gullible and it's funny.
You're funny, sir.
You are right.
It's just funny looking. I'm kidding.
That's like your go-to.
Yeah. Also, if you try to look it up in the dictionary, it doesn't exist.
Wait, what does it?
Actually, one of the classrooms in Phoenix actually says gullible on the ceiling.
Really?
I'm not joking. Scouts honor.
It says what?
One of the ceiling tiles that 8th graders painted says gullible.
Oh my God.
I'm not joking. It's
What
for
room?
real.
Wait, why do you say gullible?
Because, like, the joke of it says gullible on the ceiling, you get somebody to look up and they're gullible because they believed you. So one of the 8th graders was like, I'm actually gonna make the ceiling say gullible.
What room?
I forget whose room, but I swear to you, unless sometimes the tiles don't make it through construction if something falls on it and breaks it. But I swear to you, one of our ceiling tiles used to say gullible.
Well,
All right.
no, wait. There's
Nick,
there's a.
what could I do next? Hey, Simon and Charlie, you're making me wonder if you guys can sit next to each other. So just be aware, like, this is all trial basis. And even if we don't make a seating chart, sometimes we'll say, hey, you can't sit next to you. I do not like doing that. But when you're obviously off task, like, I can't even focus. It's not even are you learning, but it's like, can I do my job? So 4 divided by 1.6 feels like it's going to be a bit messy. So we grab our calculator. What do you get? Oh, 2.5, not bad. So now we're asked to make a table. And in case we need practice making a table, we'll do this together. X, Y, guys, it's normally good to have your X on the left just because, like, we decided that. So if X was 0, and guys, sometimes we can just do the math on our own without a calculator. If I do 1.6 times 0, plus 1, it's 1. I bet you can at least do the 1 on your own also. If X is 1, you don't need to wait for me to keep doing your table. You don't need to wait for me to do that math. What is 1.6 times 1? And then add 1. So when X is 1, Y would be anybody? 2.6. When X is 2, what's 1.6 times 2? Sandy just shout it out.
4. Wait.
Well, yeah, but then we add 1. Sorry, some people were jumping right to the answer. I was asking the on the way question. All right, so I guess if you've already done the math, Then when x is 3,
5.8.
5.8. You guys, I'll write up what people say, but if you get a different answer, like tell us you got a different answer and you want us to double check the math. When x is 4,
7.2.
dude, you're injured. I don't think you're gonna win any races right now. And don't take that as a challenge. When x is 5, 8 point what?
Wait, I got 7.4 for 4.
I think you're right. I think it's 7.4.
Yeah, he's right. I just did the math wrong. I think.
What was that about winning any races?
Touche.
I did do the math wrong.
I noticed something interesting here.
Whoa.
What do we keep going up by? Oh, that's because 1.6 is our multiplier, and we're going to start to refer to that as our slope.
No.
That tells us what to go up or down by. So that tells us we're going up, because it's positive, we're going up by 1.6 every time our x goes up. So when we go to graph this, if I was you, let's all, well, if you were you even. Now, you got to figure out how to make this show up on your paper, because I already put a graph on your paper, which, guys, this, like, my first few years teaching, I didn't even have, like, papers like this, so you'd have to do everything, and then I realized that's cruel and unusual punishment. We're going to make axes, but you got to make them show up, so whether you want to use highlighter for your axes or what,
I'm using orange.
make them a little bit offset. A little bit offset of like the top and bottom of the graph. We want to actually like practice drawing our axes on the graph that has started. Now, why did we make that table? That table tells us where to put the points on our graph. And unfortunately, the bane of my existence is the limit of time in my life. Just
That's very deep sentence. You know that?
very what?
Very deep sentence. Very
I know.
very
All things have limited time. We're out of time for today. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to pick this up tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know how we got here so fast either. So I'm gonna save this, guys, as your 1B slide. We're starting right here tomorrow. Literally right here. Hey, hold up. Just stop talking for a minute. Like, stop talking for a minute. What that means is tomorrow you should be aware we're starting right here. Get it out, have it ready when you come into class. Okay, we're starting right here tomorrow. Have a great day. Thank you.
Can I give goodbye?